You hear it on the news, but it's totally different when you look into the face of a brother and a sister whose mother has been taken hostage by the terrorist. It's totally different. And I want you to meet them. And I want you to hear from them first. I want them to tell you what happened in the kibbutz to the people in the kibbutz, where it is and what happened to them. And then I want you to hear the incredible story of their mother, because we need to unite. We need to unite and stand with her and with them and with the state of Israel in this crisis. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
And please introduce yourself and tell them.
Hi, my name is Nahar Neta. I'm the elder son for Adrian Neta, a U.S. citizen, dual citizenship, as we all are, that was abducted by the Hamas terrorists on Saturday morning.
And for those who don't know exactly what happened, explain to them what happened at the kibbutz.
Well, Saturday morning, think of your own Saturday morning. My mom was sitting.
Shabbat.
Yeah, Shabbat. My mom was sitting at the porch of our house, enjoying the early morning hours, when the bombardment started. And, missiles and bombs from Gaza are not unusual in our area.
Yeah.
So we kind of figured that it's another one of those attacks.
Yeah.
Immediately, as happens when such bombardments happen, my mom gave me a call and I stayed on the phone with her when we understood that this is not another routine attack by the Hamas terrorists. A few minutes after the bombs were falling in the kibbutz, she started hearing a lot of shouting and shouting in Arabic and shooting outside of her house.
Were you still on the phone with her?
Yeah, I was on the phone with her constantly. At this point, I had my brother and my sister join the conversation, and we were all on a conference call with her, urging her to go into the shelter, the safe room that she has in her house, while the shooting and the fighting was going on outside. At some point, we heard the terrorist barge into the house and tried to get into the shelter. A lot of screaming in Arabic and a lot of shouting and a lot of shooting inside the house. We did hear my mom shout back, and that's where the conversation got disconnected. And that was the last that we heard from her or anything about her, for that sake.
And I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
And can you tell everyone that's listening that what happened in that kibbutz?
Yeah, so kibbutz Be'eri, where we all were born and raised, it's a small farming community outside of the Gaza Strip, about 3 miles away from the border. And we've been on the ground since Yom Kippur 1947, and for a long time working the fields of this beautiful part of the country. As I said, it hasn't been a calm piece of land for a while now, with routine attacks, missiles from the Hamas terrorists. But this time, it was different. The stories that I hear from friends and family in the kibbutz are absolutely horrific. Children, babies, elderly, women, civilians murdered in their own homes, burned alive in their bedrooms. All of this is happening where I grew up. Along with that, some stories of true heroism by the community members and the IDF fighters who came to help. People doing absolutely incredible deeds to save their families and themselves. Kibbutz Be'eri is a community of about 1,000 people. Right now, we're counting over 100 dead. So 10% of the community, over 10% of the community dead. And about the same number of people that we suspect that have been kidnapped into the Gaza Strip by those ferocious terrorists. My mother, Adrianetta, a US citizen, born and raised in California, moved to the kibbutz in 1981, among those people.
And tell us about your mother. What did she do?
So after moving to Israel in the early 80s, my mom got trained as a nurse and worked for a long time as a community nurse in the communities around the border. And then moved to work for the regional hospital, Soroka in Be'er Sheva, where she cared for people of all races, Bedouins, Arabs, Jewish people, everybody that needed help. She was there to care, regardless of who they are. My mother, she saw people. She didn't see race, and she was a people person. Caring and helping other people was her life's mission, and she installed that feeling and that notion in us. We are peaceful people. In the kibbutz as well, we've been holding a lot of events for trying to speak and bring guests from the other side. Very peaceful community, peace-loving community. My mom retired just a year ago. She since then devoted her life to 7 beautiful grandkids, my own kids included. She also worked on a small farm, an agriculture farm, to help youth that were thrown out of other educational systems. Troubled kids that found a home and a caring heart with my mom at that place. Beautiful. She was volunteering there.
Beautiful. And your father?
Yeah, my dad, second generation in the kibbutz. That makes us the third, and my kids the fourth generation to live in this land. Started out in agriculture as a farming community, and then moved into our industry facility. Still lives in the kibbutz. He survived. Luckily, he was on a trip to the northern part of Israel, a vacation, and he survived. He's with us. He's healthy. Very, very much, I want to say, traumatized by the events unfolding in the kibbutz and the terrible suffering on the community and his many friends in the kibbutz that were killed, murdered, or kidnapped. So we are helping him to get through this as well.
Is it true what the news says about the number of babies that were killed in the kibbutz?
I hear the stories, I don't have concrete information about numbers.
Right.
I do know firsthand about people that saw children dead in the kibbutz, and I know that this happened. So I cannot confirm any numbers, but I know that this terrible murders happened in my home.
I want you to look into their faces, because what you see on the news is not a face. You don't see a face. You just hear a story, cold story. Maybe it's a person's name. Maybe you see a blown up building. But you don't see a brother and a sister who love their mom, filled with heartache and pain over this. And it's just not them. There's a whole lot of them in this nation that are feeling the same thing. I want to encourage you. We've got to stand with the Jewish people. We've got to stand with this nation. They're in a, what are they guilty of? You know what they're guilty of? Being Jewish. That's their only crime. That's her mom's only crime. Wonderful lady. I want you to encourage you also, because I know you watching our people of prayer. Pray. Pray. Pray for her. Pray for her protection. Pray for her health. And pray for those that have their hands on her, that somehow God Almighty would speak to them and give them a spirit of humanity so they would not harm her. And also, we need to do everything we can to help the Jewish people and stand with the state of Israel in this crisis. This is the gravest crisis that Israel's ever faced. It's stretched them beyond their capacity to understand. So I want to encourage you. We have to give. We've got to pray. We've got to stand. We've got to do all we can do. We've got to do everything. You might say, well, it's not my family. Well, it is. If you're a human being, and you are, then their pain is your pain. And so we've got to reach out in compassion and care. Can I take your hands? I'm so sorry for what you're going through.
Thank you.
God, I thank you for this brother and sister. God, I couldn't even comprehend the pain that they're suffering, especially what he's suffering, being on the phone with his mom, hearing her. And God, I pray that you'll strengthen them in this terrible furnace of affliction. You'll touch her. And I pray, Lord God, that this message will touch not thousands, but hundreds of thousands and millions of people to care, to have a heart of compassion, and to do everything they can, Lord. That even the U.S. government will do everything they can, Lord, as Israel will do everything they can, Lord, to bring this precious lady home. We thank you. Amen. Well, thank you guys so much. And I'm sorry for being so emotional.
Understood.
But it's very dear to me. It's very dear to me. I want to thank you for you that are watching and you that are listening to me right now. And I just want to encourage you. Israel's going to have a lot of needs. It's a lot of needs. These soldiers are going to have a lot of needs. The people are going to have a lot of needs. There's a lot of people that can't go to the south. They're traumatized. I've seen it. They can't go. They're traumatized. They have post-traumatic stress. They're traumatized. They need to get away from the sounds of terror. And there's so much needs in this country. So do everything you can to help the state of Israel and the Jewish people at this time of crisis, this time of war. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and God bless you.